Manyeza.
And I'm Rizijin S. Namukatkat.
And this is the Stijl Art Movement.
So first, we're going to find out who discovered the Stijl Art Movement. So who was Piet Mondrian? Peter Cornelis Mondrian is born in Amateur, the Netherlands in 1872. He studies to become an art teacher and later attends art college to learn how to paint. He starts with delicate landscape, but under the influence of Van Gogh, our hero goes out at night to capture more stylized images and to dance. Over time, his work becomes more abstract. Piet is no longer interested in depicting reality, but the essence behind it. His painting style goes back to basic horizontals and verticals in primary colors. A painting doesn't need to represent anything, it has to make you feel something. In the aftermath of the First World War, the style of neoplasticism, a Dutch artistic movement, picks up. Mondrian joins the movement from his Paris studio, where he covers the walls in colored cardboard to experiment with colors and dimensions. In 1940, he moves to New York, but shortly after completing Victory Boogie Woogie, he dies of pneumonia, age 71. His influence on art can be found everywhere to this day.
Did you know that in New York City, just a few years ago in 2015, Christie's auction house sold a very famous painting. The title of this painting is Composition Number 3 with red, blue, yellow, and black. It was painted in 1929 by Piet Mondrian. This painting sold for $50.6 million in 2015. Now I'm sure you're all wondering, why would anyone pay this much money for a painting with squares and rectangles in it? This painting started an entire movement of art from 1917 until 1931 called the Stijl. It was a Dutch word for style. The Stijl was also known as neoplasticism. Neoplasticism was a style of abstract painting which used only vertical and horizontal lines, rectangular shapes, black, white, and primary colors. Neoplasticism was developed by the very famous artist Piet Mondrian. Piet Mondrian lived a long time ago. He was a Dutch artist born in Netherlands and lived from 1872 to 1944. These bold colors and grids are the hallmark of artist Piet Mondrian, but his name art is still known today for his instantly recognizable pattern. He started out painting this, that, to this. 19th century, and it was almost a golden rule. The horizon was lost, so he had 1/3 of the painting being a landscape and 2/3 of the painting being a sky with the famous Dutch clouds. But even in his early career, Mondrian is ready to break the rules.
Here's his early painting around 1900s, a beach by a farm. A landscape which rises very high, so there's almost no sky. And there is a tree standing in the foreground of the painting, dividing the painting into, it could almost say, squares and lines. In 1911, Mondrian moves to Paris, where the Cubist painters George Braque and Pablo Picasso influenced Mondrian to experiment with increasingly abstract styles. In 1915, Mondrian returned to the Netherlands and joins the Lorraine Artists Colony, where he befriends two artists who push him even further toward abstraction. Together, these three participate in the founding of the T-style movement, like many artistic movements at the time. This group tried to make a definite break from the past, no more Dutch clouds and windmills for these guys. Mondrian calls his style at this time neoplasticism. Mondrian writes, "This neoplastic idea will ignore the particulars of appearance. On the contrary, it should find its expression in the abstraction of form and color, that is to say, in the straight line in the clearly defined primary color." It boils down to straight lines and primary colors, the signature Mondrian look you see in stores and on runways today. But despite how far Mondrian's style evolved from Dutch landscapes, it's possible to see connection to his early works. Although they're completely different, one is figurative, the other is abstract. You see that it's almost the same division of picture plates. And it's not done on purpose, it's done by intuition. Mondrian's innovative style of neoplasticism in the early 1900s had designers, architects, and artists all replicating this pure type of abstract art. This style, or neoplasticism, is an artistic movement founded in 1927 by a Dutch painter called Theo van Doesburg. It influenced painters, artists, furniture designers, and architects such as Piet Mondrian and Jacob Zoon. Theoretically, this still calls for a balance between the individual and the universal, and for the liberation of art from the constraints of tradition. The movement's essential elements are abstraction, simplified rectangular geometry, and primary colors. The artists and architects have adopted these movements, used yellow, blue, and red as the main colors of their artwork, and considered them as the only existing colors. Yellow represented the ray or the vertical movement, blue is the color contrasting yellow and it is the horizontal firmament, and red is the meeting of point between yellow and blue. The movement also limited its expression to rectangular geometry shapes and justified it by referencing two contrasting powers: the horizontal line that draws the curves of the earth around the sun, and the vertical line for the movement of the sun rays emitting from its center. One of the most famous Stijl architectural works is Roeder House, designed by Dutch architect called Gerrit Rietveld. The house was built with respect to essential points of plastic architecture defined by the movement. Its shapes are elementary, economic, and functional. It is also un-monumental, dynamic, anti-cubic in its form, and anti-decorative in its color. The house is a dynamic, changeable open planning concept. It contains a traditional ground floor where the sliding and revolving panels provide flexibility to the upper floor. It is a good example of the anti-cubic architecture that does not try to freeze a different functional space cells in one closed cube. The facades are a collage of planes and lines whose components are purely detached from each other and has its own form, position, and color. And finally, the colors were chosen to strengthen the plasticity of the facades. The Roeder House and many other examples from the Stijl movement are living proof that simplicity in the elementary approach design can create bold, daring, and interesting art.